Live, local, now. The News with WTOC starts right now with breaking news.
Right now, government officials are urging residents in the path of Hurricane Matthew to take this storm very seriously.
More than 2 million people are urged to leave their homes in coastal Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina as the storm moves in.
That's right. And happening right now, the largest mandatory evacuation in the United States since Hurricane Sandy hit the East Coast in 2012. This is a live look right now at Interstate 16 from the WTOC Chatham Parkway Skycam. You can see traffic moving pretty slowly westward there. And a look to the right there, you see some new video in Atlanta showing Interstate 75 northbound. It was backed up for miles.
Yeah, a lot of cars out there. Governor Nathan Deals ordered mandatory evacuations for everyone east of I-95 in Georgia's 6 coastal counties. So that's Chatham, Bryan, Liberty, McIntosh, Glenn, and Camden. And the Georgia Department of Transportation has turned Interstate 16, as we just saw, into a one-way evacuation route. So that eastbound is now going westbound. And we haven't seen a hurricane evacuation like this since a near miss with Hurricane Floyd back in 1999.
Well, South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley has ordered additional evacuations along the southern part of the coast just to be safe from possible flooding from Hurricane Matthew. In Colleton County, the new evacuation routes are south of State Highway 63 and east of Interstate 95. In Jasper County, the order covers people south of State Highway 336 and west of U.S. Highway 321. Other evacuations are ongoing in Beaufort, Charleston, Dorchester, Berkeley, Georgetown, and Horry counties.
We have live team coverage from across our viewing area, but first, we need to check in with our First Alert weather team.
Chief Meteorologist John Weatherby joins us now with the very latest on this dangerous storm. John?
Still a Category 4 storm, as a matter of fact, and still continuing to push its way northward toward the Florida coast, with the eye of the storm starting to fill in as it crosses Freeport. There's damage and devastation there. The Cat 4 storm will follow the Florida coast northward to this position Friday afternoon. Now is a Cat 3 storm. Doesn't look like it's going to be quite as strong or severe. At least Category 3 is less than 4, or look how it weakens to a Category 1 as it makes the turn around Savannah. Unfortunately, with this latest advisory, it's a little bit closer than it was before, and the area of uncertainty is still continuing across that area. So we'll watch that carefully, as it may in fact loop around itself, but that's not our concern right now. Our concern are the winds, up to 40 to 60 miles an hour along I-95, hurricane force winds just offshore. It's the rains, 4 to 8 inches of rain, storm total maybe a narrow band of 10 inches of rain, and the coastal flooding. We've got a 9-5 for the heavy rain and 5 for the strong winds, all a big part of this forecast. And storm surge. Jamie Erdel's got that part of the story.
Absolutely, and up and down the coast, 7 to 11 feet are possible with the storm surge, and this map shows pretty much all the way from Camden County up I-95 to Beaufort, and this has been updated a little bit, so you're going to see a little bit better conditions, especially in Jasper County east of I-95 and 17, but at the most you're going to see 11 feet of storm surge, especially in Brunswick, especially in McIntosh County. Think Darien, think the coastal area, Shelman Bluff, and then closer to Tybee, possibly 7 feet along the shores there, and we're definitely looking at flooding along Highway 80. That's Tybee Road. Friday, the high tide from 11 to 3, that's the point where we could see some flooding. The normal tide, 6.5 feet. Flood stage along Tybee is 9.2 along Highway 80 in front of Port Pulaski, and we're forecasting 9 to 12 feet. So it's definitely possible that you're going to see the road inundated with water, and that's the first time we can see that. Then Saturday morning, 122 is high tide at 6.4 feet. Flood stage once again 9.2. Forecasted 10 to 15 feet, so stay off the roads on Highway 80 Saturday morning 12 to 3 a.m.
All
right, now let's check in on traffic. Right now I'm here at Chatham Parkway and I-16. Take a look behind me. You can see, I mean, there's not even really any traffic. There's cars on the road, but it is moving slowly. I believe this is where that contraflow begins, but not many people are even using those regularly eastbound lanes because the westbound is moving just fine. We've been to Bryan County, we've been to Effingham County and the Jamie Casino traffic tracker, and traffic seemed to be smooth all the way up. We were on Highway 17, also on Highway 80. So it seems like, you know, this has worked. People are doing what they were supposed to do. Now, this contraflow is expected to go until it is needed. So there's no time frame on how long both lanes will be going westbound, but officials are just saying until it is needed. And this does go up until Dublin, which is mile marker 38. And if you do still need to get in town, there are ways, if you do for whatever reason, on 80, 204, as well as 21 southbound. Now, we're going to go back and see if we can find anything else for you to keep you updated and let you know if you still need to evacuate. The roads seem to be clear for you to get on out of town. All right, live, Tasha Reed, WTOC News.
That is good to know. Well, Governor Nathan Deal in a news conference this afternoon urging those in the Coastal Empire once again to leave immediately ahead of Hurricane Matthew.
State authorities promise their help as the area braces for what they're calling a very serious situation. WTOC's Wright Gazaway joins us live from the Ports Authority. And Wright, the governor promised state resources for the storm, but we could also get some national help too. Oh,
I think we lost him. But he did say that the governor did say that he spoke with President Obama today, and the president did promise his commitment to federal aid if we do indeed need that. So we'll try to get back to Wright in that live shot with more from what Governor Deal said in that news conference in just a few minutes here.
All right, and if you do need to evacuate, go online for more resources. For example, you can find your evacuation route. If you don't know what it is, go to the Hurricane Center on WTOC.com. You can also download our free WTOC News and our weather apps for you as well, so a lot of tools at your disposal.
Okay, now I think we do have Wright Gazaway and more on what Governor Deal had to say this evening here in Savannah, right?
So Governor Deal started off saying that he spoke with the president today. The president promised any national help, any resources, if those are needed. The governor was in town touring the city and county emergency operations centers. Matthew will be the first hurricane to hit Georgia's coast in Governor Deal's 6 years in office. He feels like so far the evacuation orders and updates have given citizens plenty of time to get out of Dodge safely. The GEMA director also one of the handful to speak today. He's been talking consistently with FEMA. Another thing that many people are worried about are those bridges on and off the island. You heard Jamie talking about the storm surge. The governor says that storm surge could render many of those bridges useless. If that were to be the case, a DOT crew would have to come in and assess those bridges after the storm to make sure they're still usable. Obviously, that could be a lengthy process. Overall, though, the main message today is that the state is very committed to helping coastal Georgia and making sure we have everything we need to be safe. The governor, though, did say he was very impressed. He believes the area is very well equipped with the emergency operations centers in both the city and the county. He did take a minute to reiterate his message. We've been saying it for a couple of days now, but if you have not left yet, now is the time. Don't wait until tomorrow. Now is the time to get out. Governor Deal says this is a very, very serious situation. Reporting live from the Georgia Ports Authority, Wright Gazaway, WTOC News.
And hundreds of people already heeding that advice. They've made their way to the Civic Center for access to buses that will take them to shelters.
Yes, so if you do not have your own transportation, you're in the Savannah area and you need to evacuate, go to the Civic Center. And if you can't make it to the Civic Center on your own, get to the nearest Chatham area transit bus stop and they can take you there. Our Elizabeth Rollins joins us live with more details about what folks should do.
Yeah, guys, it's been a pretty busy day here at the Civic Center. Right behind me, there's a group of officers that actually just arrived at town. GEMA sent them down here. They're with the Department of Community Supervision. About 100 officers making their way to town. They're going to be helping with traffic, patrolling the area, helping with security. Many of these guys still coming in just in the last couple of minutes. But as they come in, about 1,200 people have now headed out of town on school buses. That's the latest update, at least 1,200, and about 50 buses is on their way to Augusta, where they're taking folks to shelter at this point. But officials tell me, please don't wait. If you need to get out of town on a bus, do not wait until tomorrow at noon. That's the deadline. But don't wait. If you're ready now, come. But they'll be open all night through. Originally, it was scheduled to be, the deadline was midnight tonight, but now they have pushed that to noon tomorrow, and they will be open all night. So at 2 a.m., if you're ready to go, come, and there will be somebody here to help you. Red Cross and Department of Family and Children's Services are here. They'll take your information and get you safely on a bus. We have all this information and more online at WTOC.com, and we'll be out here and continue this coverage. For now, we're live in downtown Savannah. Elizabeth Rollins, WTOC News.
Thanks so much for that information, Elizabeth. Very helpful. Shelters are open in Georgia and South Carolina. You can find a list of where those shelters are at WTOC.com.
All right, a mandatory evacuation went into effect in Tybee earlier, and we're going to see how people are heeding that order when we come back. We're going to check in with David Clue. He's out on Tybee tonight.
But first, let's take a live look outside if we can. There you go, just checking out the beach area to see our current weather conditions, and we're going to let you know what this beach is going to look like at this time tomorrow when we come back.
If you're down in Liberty County and you need to evacuate, we want to let you know that they have 8 buses ready to go at 607 East Oglethorpe Highway. That's at Liberty Troop Park. But they want to leave at 8 o'clock, and you'll be brought here to Savannah and then on to Augusta, so keep that in mind. Now we want to go to Tybee Island, which is under a mandatory evacuation right now. City officials want anyone on Tybee off that island before morning.
Our David Clue, as you can see, is out there live. And David, if people are heeding the warnings, it really should be a ghost town out there right now. So the big question is it?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there are still a lot of people driving around Tybee, just kind of gawking around, seeing what's going on here. But for the most part, the beach is closed, the water is closed, the rentals are for the most part closed. The businesses, with a few exceptions, are closed. There are a couple of bars here at Tybee that remain open and are doing, I'm told, a pretty brisk business with their pizza, their bar food, their beer. So we'll check some of that out a little bit later. But certainly the mayor did talk about this earlier, saying that he wanted everyone off the island, that he did not intend to close Highway 80, however, or even ask that it be closed. He figured Matthew would close Highway 80 in his own time. We figure that's going to happen sometime tomorrow afternoon. And given the tides and the storm surge, the potential storm surge, this storm and might keep Highway 80 underwater for a number of hours, 12, 15, maybe 24 hours at that point. That could complicate things for a lot of the folks who have chosen to stay, because something else that Mayor Bilderman also said earlier today was that he will not risk the lives of his first responders coming out and assisting people during the storm if they have their own personal emergencies. He told them to get out. They chose to stay. He says there's nothing we can do about that. So we'll continue to keep you updated on what's happening out here at Tybee Island. For now, I'm David Clue on Tybee Island, WTOC News.
Hey, David, well, we still have you there real quick. You got out there late this afternoon, right? So how has the weather changed at Tybee since you've been there and just throughout the day?
Yeah, it's changed considerably, Wendy. In fact, things are starting to get downright chilly out here. Now, I say chilly, it's probably still somewhere in the 60s, maybe low 70s out here, but that's a significant difference from earlier today, just a few hours back. The wind continues to pick up, and of course, we don't have any rain as of yet, but you can tell something's up here. The overcast skies, again, the wind, the temperature. Everyone that walks out here is basically calling the conditions out here somewhat ominous. They know that Matthew is on the way in some form.
All right, thank you, David.
Jamie Ertl is standing by with the latest.
Absolutely, and we are tracking Matthew as it slowly descends on Freeport, with the outer eye wall hitting Freeport right now, but landfall still imminent, not yet, not in the record books, and it is a Category 4 storm as it passes over the Bahamas and will continue to be a Category 4. That's not a lot of land to slow it down, so it will continue to be a Cat 4 as it heads toward Florida. So look at some of the outer bands of Matthew already trying to make a run at our coast, but we have not seen any rain. We've seen a lot of moisture, satellite and radar, lots of clouds out there. So let's take the satellite off, the clouds, and put the radar in motion and track this shower activity and show you when it may make a run for land. So right now I'll put a tracker on that, a squall line, the best thing that I can do here. And I'm not going to take it into Savannah. I'm going to take it directly into coastal counties like right there, Brunswick, Townsend. So there you go, 852 Thalman, Townsend 948, Warehouse right around 1041. And it's going to be very light in nature. You could see the difference between all the layers of satellite looking down from space and our radar on the ground. And the showers are not that impressive, but they will be, oh, they will be tomorrow. So let's look at FUTURECAST as we head through the rest of the evening. If there is any sprinkles, it'll be south of 16, not heavy. This is midnight Friday. As we head into the morning hours, we should be dry. This is 6 a.m. when another band starts to make its way, and that'll still be south of 16, but we could see sprinkles as far north as Beaufort. Then 10 a.m., it's on. You can see it gets very, very heavy through 10 to 3 p.m., especially south of 16. And we're going to keep going Friday 5:30, heavier stuff. And now you're seeing the rotation as it gets closer to the Coastal Empire. And there it is at 227 with the eye right under the WTOC offshore, but still feeling the massive effects along the coast with those winds and that rain. I'm going to stop it here. John Weatherby's going to pick it up. How much rain are we going to see out of this, and how can we track this?
Well, the easiest way to do it is with our First Alert free weather app. Of course, the First Alert Radar Network is there on your tablet or on your smartphone, and that radar modeling is going to be pretty close to what we're going to see, because we're talking about 4 to 8 inches of rainfall along the 95 corridor, maybe a narrow band of 10 inches right along the coast, but rainfall amounts certainly lessen as you go farther and farther to the west. Look at the winds. The hurricane force winds just offshore forecast to be less than a 20-mile core. Gosh, the storm may only be 20 miles offshore, so we're going to have to pay attention to some gusty winds right along the shoreline, but 40 to 60 mile an hour winds, I-95 corridor. Winds then diminish pretty quickly as you head farther and farther to the west. Watch this wind core and this little red band, the red dot, that's the hurricane force winds that just start to go away, and not going to be a problem by the time we get to Saturday as the storm actually starts to move off and out of the way. So 77 degrees to start the day, 78, 77. Look at our temperatures. In fact, right now we're getting the coolest temperatures. Hurricanes are designed by Mother Nature as a giant heat engine to move heat toward the poles. So we will slowly warm as we go through the night tonight. And look at the winds. Northeast at 28 early, northeast at 37 by noon. The heavier rain gets started to fire up. And then by 4 o'clock, northeast winds at 48 miles an hour. And let me show you the moisture field here. See this brown? This is so dense. This is actually Matthew with his heaviest rains right along our coastal areas, then starting to diminish a bit as he pushes off through South Carolina up to North Carolina. That matches our track pretty carefully. Hurricane risk, of course, with our marine forecast. Look at these winds. Northeast winds 20 to 30 knots, 5 to 7 feet on the seas, 11 to 16 feet on the seas for tomorrow, with winds up to 65 knots. Not a day for the novice mariner, that's for sure. 70 tomorrow if you're inland, or tonight, 73 along coastal areas, 78 tomorrow along the coast. Looks like we'll see 80 degrees by the time we get inland, farther inland, but I'm afraid you're not going to be wanting to do much moving around. Look at the rain chances we see for the red alert days, first alert days, both Friday and for Saturday, 77, 78. Then after the storm clears, and it'll be Saturday afternoon into evening, though it'll still be windy, Sunday is much quieter, high of 80 degrees, 79, 79, 79, 82. Dry, tranquil weather will follow Hurricane Matthew out of our area. So we've got a lot to watch, a lot to pay attention to. If you're watching us online, we'll keep you updated right here on WTOC and WTOC.com. Russ?
Could be a long 48 hours. Well, people on Hilton Head Island also heading out.
And that's where we find our Lowcountry reporter, Georgia Reed Godfrey, live from the beach. And Gigi, I hope you're the only one out there right now.
Yes, I am. In fact, I've been the only person out here for most of the day, and that's because a lot of people decided to get out of the way of the storm as early as Tuesday. We saw a lot of people leave then, a lot of people leave Wednesday, and even quite a few people leave today in preparation for what's to come this weekend. As of right now, Beaufort Memorial and Hilton Head Island hospitals are closed, and water will be turned off for Harbor, Hunting, and Fripp Islands in anticipation of the storm surge. We are expecting to see 6 to 8 feet of water water above ground. So I know you're probably thinking, well, my house is 15 feet above sea level, which may be the case, but think about all the wildlife that would be looking for a dry place to spend their night through the storm as well. So if you're not prepared to live with wildlife for an extended period of time, or prepared to live without water or electricity for an extended period of time, please rethink your decision to stay behind and not evacuate, because if anything, if the storm takes a turn for the worse, you will not have any help. In fact, Hilton Head Island Fire and Rescue just announced that they will be pulling their personnel as well, starting as early as 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to go ahead and send it back to you guys because it's getting a little dark out here, but we will continue to monitor things here in the Lowcountry.
All right, thank you, Gigi. With hurricane warnings now in effect for parts of South Carolina, Governor Nikki Haley continues to monitor and prepare evacuations and response ahead of Hurricane Matthew. Ashley Holland is live in the Emergency Operations Center there in Columbia, South Carolina, with the very latest. Ashley?
That's right. The governor here tonight really trying to get through to anyone who feels they may be able to weather the storm in place without evacuating. She said the predicted storm surge of Matthew could surpass what happened in 1989 with Hurricane Hugo. She was inside the Situation Room in the Emergency Operations Center all day going over evacuations and state preps ahead of the storm. And tonight she's revealed a chaplain now sits in on those meetings because of the need for prayer. She says there have been 280,000 people who moved inland from the coast as of 3 o'clock today. 67 buses of people in nursing homes taken out of Charleston. Beaufort Memorial Hospital is evacuating too, a sign of the seriousness of the storm. Tomorrow, lane reversals on I-26. And she says because troopers are needed elsewhere in the state, but she says when people see those troopers leaving, that should be their sign that those people should have already left.
If you have a hospital that is evacuating, that is all the more reason why the residents in those areas need to evacuate. This is really a serious storm. We have in every way tried to prepare as much as possible to keep you safe as possible. But we can't take you by the hand and bring you to the upstate. We can't take you by the hand and say we need to get you out of there. I am begging you at this point to understand the seriousness of the storm.
The governor says she was on the phone with President Obama throughout the day, who offered his support to South Carolina, but she says now is the time for the state to pray. Live in West Columbia, Ashley Holland for the Raycom News Network.
Our team coverage on Hurricane Matthew continues now. Raycom reporter John Huddleston is live in Atlanta at the State Operations Center. John?
Yeah, guys, good evening to you. We are here at the state EMA headquarters as well as Homeland Security. This is really kind of the nerve center, the coordination of whatever is going to happen. They will respond to it from here, mainly coordinating those relief efforts across the state of Georgia from this very location. Right now, what they're doing primarily is dealing with the preparedness stage of this operation at this point, really letting people know to evacuate from those coastal areas. They've been saying that all day long. They have also been posting out on their Twitter feed where you can actually go, those evacuees, where they can go to shelter. They've been retweeting a lot of the Red Cross locations where people can go if they cannot find a hotel room. I will tell you guys, when we were driving actually in here to Atlanta just a short while ago, that we actually were listening to some local media on the way in, one of the radio stations. They were actually commenting on how congested the roadways were today from all the evacuees driving in. I know you say Atlanta traffic's always congested. Well, even more so today than normal, really, because, as they put it, a lot of people are trying to get away from those coastal areas and coming into this area as well here. We also saw a large number of power trucks coming into the Atlanta area today, really sitting here to basically be a staging area before they actually move out to the coastal areas. I did speak with one of the drivers. He told me that he's actually from Illinois and is being brought all the way down here. He said that really this is nothing new. He was involved in Superstorm Sandy, a number of other hurricanes that he responded to. He says what they do a lot of times is they'll actually go into those staging areas and wait for the storm to pass. Once it does, then they'll go in and, of course, coordinate a lot of the relief efforts. That is the very latest from here in Georgia. John Huddleston, Raycom News Network.
All right, we're going to have the latest as Matthew approaches Florida. That's